I'm Stacy Gordon. Welcome to That's My Jam. In the last year or so, I became a fan of some of the prepackaged meal delivery kits. I like these kits for multiple reasons. They're convenient, the recipes are easy to follow, and they're pretty delicious. Also, you get to keep the recipe cards. So if you decide you want to take a break and stop subscribing for a while, you've got some really nice recipe cards with some really great dinners that you can make for a while. That's exactly where I find myself today. I'm not currently subscribed to anything, but there are a few recipes that we keep using over and over. And we're going to talk about one of those today. This is a brown sugar bourbon pork meatloaf recipe. This recipe is divided up into 4 quarter-pound individual meatloaves. I'm crazy about this recipe, and I think you're going to be as well. Let's get started. I'm going to place some aluminum foil on this cookie sheet, and then I'm going to spray it with some olive oil. We'll set that aside, and in a small bowl, I'm going to add 4 big tablespoons of barbecue sauce, 1 heaping teaspoon of brown sugar, and a great big teaspoon of bourbon. We'll use a squirt of lemon and some black pepper. We're going to get that mixed up really well, and we have got one beautiful barbecue sauce here. Next, we're going to need a pound of ground pork. You can use ground beef if you like, but I feel like pork works better for this recipe. We're going to get that into a large bowl, add some salt, some pepper, and today I'm adding a little bit of onion powder. Normally I use about half of an onion diced up really small, but I didn't have one today. Now I'll add a big spoonful of our barbecue sauce to that meat mixture. Not too much because we're going to need all of the rest of this for later. And 1/4 cup panko breadcrumbs. Hands are washed. I'm just going to get in here and start mixing this all together. Then after we feel like we have this mixed up really well, I'm going to form it into 4 individual little meatloaves. Just get those kind of the shape of a large egg and place them on our baking sheet. Next, I'm going to use some of the barbecue sauce, and I'm going to give each one of these little meatloaves a really good coating of this sauce. Now, I want you to put a really heavy coating of this barbecue sauce on the meatloaves. In fact, I'm going to go through and do a second coat, and this time I'm really going to get it on there thick and heavy. Don't hold back on this step. We want plenty of this sauce on these little meatloaves. Once we get that on there nice and thick, we're going to place these in our oven for 20 minutes. While those are baking, now's the perfect time to go tap the like button for me. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. After the 20 minutes is up, we're going to remove these from the oven and add all the remaining barbecue sauce to the tops of our little meatloaves. We are not going to waste 1 drop of this barbecue sauce. Going to get the rest of that on there nice and thick. And then we're going to return these to the oven for another 5 or 6 minutes. Once these come out of the oven for the second time, I like to let them rest for just a couple of minutes before I'm ready to get them on a plate. Absolute perfection. Certainly you can use ground beef in this recipe if you don't want to do the ground pork, but if you've never tried the ground Duroc pork, I highly recommend you do so. We served our meatloaves today with just a side of lima beans, but this dish goes great with mashed potatoes and pretty much any vegetable you care to serve with it. If you're sick and tired of the same old, I think you are going to be extremely happy with the way that these meatloaves turn out. I'm going to be back again with you real soon. In the meantime, turn off the TV, turn on some music, and just keep jamming.